Hey everybody, we are here again doing Zone 3 today. I can't even remember what day this is or what number installment we're at. I've lost track, but it's clear that everyone really is taking to the training, the the training installments. So we got a lot more of those coming up. So spread the word. All people need to do is sign up for the newsletter on the EK Endurance Coaching website, and you can also just point them to this website as well. Everything is up and most of it's public. So Zone 3 today we're going over, and this is probably going to be pretty quick here. This has often been thought of as kind of a no man's land training area. People always say, "Oh, don't train in Zone 3," and lately you've probably been hearing a lot more of, Zone 1 and 2 is a total waste of time. Just train in Zone 3 when you're doing endurance, quote unquote endurance or base type stuff. For the most part, I feel that you can kind of lump Zone 3 into your endurance training for a couple of reasons. One, the practicality of it. Even in longer races, even in longer Ironmans or half Ironman or so, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of Zone 3 time. And even in long road races, even if there's not a lot of climbing in them, you're going to find yourself in a lot of Zone 3. If you find yourself in a long breakaway, going to be a lot of Zone 3 time there. Looking at a couple power files from the Gila, the Tour of the Gila this last year, a mostly flat stage on stage 1, mostly flat to rolling stage, 90 miles before you hit the last 5-mile climb. We saw ranges of 25% of that 4.5 hours being in Zone 3. That's a pretty big chunk of time, and that was from someone who did not get into the breakaway and kind of kicked it back on the last climb. For the guys in the breakaway and that were racing on the climb, we're going to see upwards of 40, maybe even 50% of your time in that race being in Zone 3. And again, this is, there's a hard climb to the finish, but this is a predominantly flat road race. So you can see a lot of practicality there for training in Zone 3. But the fact of the matter is there's a big give and take. And so the bottom line here is that when you're training in Zone 3, and I have a little definition of, the percentages of what Zone 3 is in the text there, you get all the physiological adaptations that you get when you're training in Zone 2. The catch is that because you're riding at an accelerated intensity, you can't do it for as long. And also your repeatability becomes an issue if you're building up too much fatigue. So it needs to be used with caution, and it needs to be, you really need to make sure that you have your other really key component to training when you're doing a lot of tempo riding, which is recovery. We're going to go over recovery later on in depth. You've got to be careful with it because you really can generate a lot of fatigue by doing a lot of long tempo, a lot of long Zone 3 riding. But it's and I'm going to let you as an individual decide whether it's right for you and how much of it is right for you. Everyone's going to respond differently. Everyone's going to recover differently. Everyone has different resources and different amounts of time to recover and different amounts of time to train. So bottom line is that tempo training can be great, time-sensitive endurance training. You're training for a long race, a stage race, long road races, an Ironman, a half Ironman, and you just don't have the huge amount of hours to pile into training. Tempo riding can be your white knight. It can be your ally. It is a really key thing. It can be very, very helpful. Again, the amount, when it's placed in a training, it can be it can be key. So that can be kind of a, when you do it for you is going to be kind of an individual thing. One of the things that I like to prescribe that I think is good for almost everybody is by taking your endurance rides and trying to add in some zone 3 time at the end of the ride. So build up some time, build up some work, build up some fatigue, get over that 70-minute mark, then add your tempo in. Then add your intensity in a little bit more. Tempo demystified. Okay, zone 3 demystified. It's not a big mystery anymore, and you shouldn't be afraid of it. Check it out. Get out there, get riding in tempo, see what it does for you. Talk to your friends and training partners and coaches or mentors, and see what it does for you. It'll probably do some good things if you haven't been spending a lot of time there, and if you're training for longer events. So, be safe, everybody. Happy training. Going to do threshold tomorrow. Going to go over testing procedures and all that kind of good stuff. See you then. Thanks for checking in.